Hello, hello, my name is Clark Harron, aka the Harry Hobo, and welcome to AKA Sports episode number 5. And maybe they're not quite to 75, but the NBA is. They are celebrating their 75th year of play, and it's about that time of the year when we get to the All-Star game. Yes, it's where we get the biggest and brightest stars, put them on the court, and they score close to 200 points and entertain us all. And we actually are going to be going through the list of all the starters today. We'll be talking about who we like, who we dislike, maybe some snubs that didn't quite make this list. And then at the very end, we'll also be doing a nice little starting 5 draft of the 10 starters that are currently listed for the 2022 All-Star game. Before we get into it, Fletch, welcome back.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully your weekend has been good. I know you've been struggling to keep up with the NBA over the last several hours or so. The amount of trades that are going on. Before we jump into the All Star game, I have to get your opinion on this because it was quite the blockbuster trade, especially for someone like myself who doesn't typically follow the NBA like a true NBA fan. Obviously, we saw James Harden getting traded. Tell us what your thoughts are on that trade, and was it a good thing, a bad thing? What are we talking about here?
It was something that needed to be done. Plain and simple. James Harden apparently wanted out. That was very obvious over the last 72 hours. Ben Simmons has wanted out for since the playoffs last year. So it was inevitable. You got two disgruntled players. You swap them out, at least get some value back for them. I'll be honest. I think both teams actually kind of um, set themselves up. I think Brooklyn is gonna. I mean, is a little bit more of work in progress on process because the adding a player that hasn't played for almost a year is, it's not something that you got to. Yeah, I'm sure I'm hoping he stayed in shape. That was one of the things, but that we kind of heard about. He was not staying in shape, but I mean, if he's committed, I think he'll get right. There's a report saying that him and Kevin Durant has spoke today. I guess they can make sure everything's all good, and apparently things went well with that conversation. Um, Philly becomes the best team in the Eastern Conference if James Harden fully buys in to the Sixers, but also buys into being the number two behind Joel Embiid. Period. That's going to be a tough pill, I think, for him to swallow. I'm hoping he's going in with those intentions to not take over the Sixers, but to help them. And then he also signed an extension or took his player option, so he'll be in Philly for this year and next. So I think it was a good move for both teams. I think it fits. Brooklyn came up on Steph Curry or Seth Curry. Ooh, Seth Curry. That would be scary. Seth Curry, and Andre Drummond also came up with a first round pick. I think two first round picks, if I'm reading this right. Um, with some
Yes.
contingencies, of course. You know how the NBA goes. And then Sixers got Paul Millsap as well in this trade, which honestly, with a vet coach like Doc Rivers, Paul Millsap could be utilized. So that's just something to look for. Overall, Clark, I was fine with this trade. We kind of felt it coming. Windhorst had reported it. I want to say about 2 days ago that it was like I ain't gonna say imminent, but it was to the point where it seemed like it was going to happen anyways. So amongst that, man, I liked a lot of the trades that were made. Some of them head scratchers. Some teams trying to go on one. You understand the direction of some of these teams. Some of them you don't. Kind of typical at deadline. Some teams did a really good job getting rid of dead weight. So it was interesting. It was very similar to what we see in free agency though.
Agreed. And we've seen this type of trade, trying to get rid of Ben Simmons for quite some time now, but they were able to get
Hmm.
a deal done, and now we'll see the Joel Embiid and James Harden project come to light and see if they can potentially win a ring there in Philly. And speaking of Mr. Embiid, he is actually on the East Pool starters. He will be on the East team led by the East captain who won't be playing this year, which is Kevin Durant. The team will be coached by Eric Spoelstra of the Miami Heat. And let me go through the list of starters. We have Giannis. I will leave his last name for everybody else, but we all know who that is. Demar Derozan, Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, and as well as Trae Young is going to be your East starters. Fletch, name off who's going to be in the West.
Yes, sir. The Western Conference starters. First, we'll start off with our coach from the Phoenix Suns, Monty Williams, having a great season. Best record in the league, best team. It looks like in the league as well. Um, Starters, Captain LeBron James from the Los Angeles Lakers. Um, what is this year 19? Putting up 29, 6 and 8. Um, to join him is going to be Steph Curry, Golden State Warriors, Nikola Jokic, Denver Nuggets, first time All Star Ja Morant, and coming in as a starter. One thing I want to mention, man, Memphis looks really good this season. I believe they're third in the West, playing really good team ball led by Ja Morant. I believe Kendrick Perkins said it best. Ja Morant feels like a mix between Derrick Rose and Allen Iverson.
Wow.
Just yeah, high praise. But I mean, what he's doing year three, putting up 26, 7 and 5, 7 and 6. It's yeah, he's nasty, and he's gonna be a problem. He's gonna be a major problem. All Star also joining Steph from the Golden State Warriors. We got Andrew Wiggins, first time All Star, well deserved. I had questions about him being a starter. We'll kind of get into that. It's partially due to the voting, partially due to the way they do lineups, but being on the second best team in the whole league right now, record wise, he's definitely having a really good season, best season he's ever had as a pro, and I think we really starting to see who we thought we were going to see earlier in his career. Um, Keep it pushing. We got Devin Booker, third time All Star. Luka Doncic, also third time All Star. Rudy Gobert, third time All Star. Draymond Green is back on the All Star team and well deserved. Unfortunately, he's injured and won't play. Four-time All Star. Donovan Mitchell, three-time All Star. Chris Paul, 12-time All Star, 15 and 10 leading the league in assists with 10.4 assists. Carl Anthony Towns, third-time All Star, having a good season, averaging 24 and 9, almost 10 rebounds. One thing to mention about Minnesota, I'm tough on Minnesota to be honest with you. Anthony Edwards is a baller. D'Angelo Russell's playing his role very well, but I like to see him, do a little bit more scoring. Carl Anthony Towns having a great season. He's actually in a three-point shootout this year. Um, I got to give a little bit props to him. I'm very hard on Carl Anthony Towns, but Minnesota is currently eighth, I believe, in the West. So as of now, they're in the play-in tournament. So and then lastly, we'll mention our injury replacement, still well deserved. Dejounte Murray having a really good season this year, again, best he's ever had, averaging 19, 9 and 8, almost a triple double for the Spurs right now. So very good talent pool, Clark. I'll actually mention this really quick before I kick it back to you. We're airing. It's 7:03 right now on the East Coast. I don't know if you saw this, but they just drafted the All Star teams.
Yes, I knew they were going to be on there at 6:30 as the run time.
Yeah, it was Durant and LeBron, and I got the sound down obviously, so I'm just watching the draft, and we could probably pull the teams up at the end of the show. But one thing I do want to kind of mention: James Harden was drafted last. And I don't know what was said. I got to go back and listen. But Kevin Durant was doing a lot of talking before he picked Rudy Gobert and left James Harden for LeBron James to pick last. Had to be some kind of reasoning. I don't know exactly what happened, but LeBron was dying laughing, and I wish I could have heard it. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna play that back later, but we'll pull up their teams at the end of the show. I just wanted to mention that, especially with the trade we mentioned earlier in the show. Just yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, and I will go ahead and list off the rest of the East side of things. We have LaMelo Ball, his first All Star game appearance. He is replacing Kevin Durant, who will not be playing due to injury. We have six-time All-Star Jimmy Butler, another first-time All-Star in Darius Garland, coming out of Cleveland, a team that really wasn't expected to be this good this soon. But they are doing some good things, led by Garland himself, scoring basically 28 and 3 on the season. So he's doing quite well. James Harden, we mentioned a couple times, he's on there. Zach LaVine, second-time All-Star. Chris Middleton is a three-time All-Star, as well as the great, I think, from Wichita State, if I'm not mistaken, the great Fred Van Fleet. Will be his first time All Star there with the Raptors, scoring 20, a little over 21 and a half points a game this season. Quite the list here. I think Zach LaVine is actually going to be going for the 3-point contest and the dunk contest, if I'm not mistaken. He will be going for both. Obviously, LaMelo Ball was doing great, and wasn't he injured earlier this season? Is that correct?
I had to double check. I know he played like 57 games to this point, so I don't. I think he came out the gate. He might have missed the first maybe week of season. I do remember him being injured. I don't know how many games he's actually missed.
Just not a whole lot. Okay. For some reason, I had it in my
Yeah.
mind that he had missed a few games here and there, but he is an all star as well. And as you mentioned, the draft is currently going on. But before we do our own draft, Fletch, I'm going to kick it back over to you. Uh, Tell us of the starters, and I think we might know who you're going to go to first. Who do you think shouldn't be there as one of the starters?
Yeah, we'll kind of go back to it. I preluded a little bit there. It's definitely Andrew Wiggins for me. I like Andrew Wiggins a lot, and I'm glad he's an All Star, and I think he deserves to be an All Star for sure. I'm not saying that, but based on the format, the fact that we can go two guards, and well, essentially two backcourt players and three front court players. Luka Doncic essentially is off the ball this year for the Mavs. If you haven't watched him, he's listed as a guard forward as well. I personally would have put Luka Doncic in the starting lineup. Just, I mean, that would be easy for me. But based on the format, Luka Doncic being voted in as a guard, that's the reason why he's actually not the starter, in my opinion. So that's the only All Star that I would take off this list. Um, Clark, we'll kick it back over to you with the East, man. Out of these five All Stars, who'd you take off, if any? Um, we'll include Kevin Durant being a starter. I mean, he needed an injury replacement. And I'll add, would you this is this the correct injury replacement?
Yeah, it's tough because when, just looking at their stats, it's hard to find somebody else that's having a phenomenal year. I think they did pretty well in getting the starters correct, at least for the East side. You could potentially argue LaMelo Ball being in there, uh, but I mean, they're all doing really, really well. I mean, Harden's had his up and downs, but he's been doing fine, even though he might be a little bit better now. He's away from Brooklyn at this point. Um, but really, overall, I don't really see anybody else besides maybe LaMelo Ball, unless you can point something else that I'm not seeing. Potentially replacement as instead of Jason Tatum, maybe putting LaMelo Ball in there. But would you run? Would you want to have both Trey Young and LaMelo Ball starting on the East?
Um, uh, yes and no. I would say no in this case. The reason being is that sticking to the voting, the original lineup was the guards being DeMar Derozan and Trey Young, and then the front court players being Joel Embiid, Giannis, and and KD, Kevin Durant. So taking out a forward and technically in Kevin Durant, and you having to go with the best forward available, I would say Jason Tatum or Jimmy Butler would have been fine for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I get where you're going with the LaMelo Ball because I mean, essentially, you still have Trey Young and uh, DeMar DeRozan can play the three, the forward spot, and then you can start a LaMelo Ball at that point. But also, too, LaMelo Ball was an injury replacement, so I didn't think he was going to get to start anyways. But there was a case that he got snubbed in the first place, so you can even throw that in there as well. He's actually my personal snub that should have got in, and I'm glad he was the first one announced in based off injury, because that tells me he was next in line, which I'm somewhat okay with, but I think he should have been a part of the original 12. Anyways, I hate to take anybody off. I won't get into that quite yet. We'll wait. We'll save that for a little bit later, unless you want to get into it now.
for players that didn't get on the list. Period.
For players that I would actually not so much just got snubbed, but people always say, okay, if they got snubbed, who are you taking out then? Personally, and no knock on him at all, I'm taking out Van Fleet.
Not Mr. Van Fleet.
Absolutely, Mr. Van Fleet. The other option would have been Darius Garland, but if I had to compare Van Vliet to Darius Garland does have a little bit more help, but and that's questionable. And it's leading a team in the Eastern Conference, and right now I believe they're fourth. And Van Vliet they're knocking on the doors to the play-in tournament. So that and the fact that the Charlotte Hornets are firmly in the playoff tournament right now or play-in tournament, that would and I mean it's the All Star game. Who would you rather watch, Van Vliet or Lamelo Ball?
Well, obviously, the choice is always going to be LaMelo Ball at this point, and he's a very good player.
Exactly.
There's nothing to take away from him at all, but
No, not
obviously,
at all.
yeah, especially with all the news that came from obviously what his dad started years ago, that's always going to be there no matter where he goes. But he's playing well without or well beyond that shadow at this point. He is putting up numbers that I think at sometimes, especially when he was playing overseas, you weren't 100% sure if it was going to cross over into the NBA. But
Oh, it's transferred.
he's transferring it quite well. And uh, I guess I'll ask you this because I pulled up another list of other players that just got snubbed entirely. Um, I think one was Shea Gillis Alexander out of Oklahoma City. Uh, Another strong campaign, 22, basically 23 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists on the season. Uh, Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
the same question would go to you. Like, A, do you think he should be on this list? And B, if so, who are you pulling off?
I wouldn't say he's the snub in regards because I can't take anybody off and put him on in the Western Conference. I mean necessarily or in the Eastern Conference. I don't know. I mean, numbers wise, somebody may look at this and be like, okay, Chris Paul's only averaging 14.9 points. Draymond Green averages single digits in every category, and I don't know. Rudy Gobert only averages 16 points a game and gets no assist. So I don't know. I mean, you can simply do that and be like, okay, I'm taking these guys off, but like that's in my opinion would be uneducated. Because you don't understand how great these players actually are on the floor and how impactful they are. Um, everybody has questions about certain players, and I do obviously about a few of these, but it doesn't take away from how good they are either. So Shea Gillis is deserving, I guess you can say, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a snub because there's no one I can actually argue to take off and replace him with.
Simple enough. Now, I guess I'll ask you this then. Is there a player that's not on any of
Mhm.
these lists that you would put on there or have issue or have a little bit easier time putting on this list because you feel like they were truly snubbed?
A player outside of the I, he Lamelo was an injury replacement, but outside of him, who else?
Right. Anybody that's not currently like on the reserves or any of the starters that outside you're thinking,
Who
man, I don't even know how they didn't even get become a reserve at this point. Maybe jumping over someone like a Fred Van Vliet kind of player.
That's a great question. I've heard a lot of people say Jared Allen should definitely have made this team. I don't know. I like Jared Allen a lot. I don't know if I would do that though. Um, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think there's any other player other than Lamelo Ball not being in the original 12 for the East. Outside of him, I don't. Yeah, I can't really take anybody off and put somebody on. The only player I'm thinking about that might have an argument is Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be it. That would be it for me. And I just can't. take anybody off to put him on either, other than his teammate maybe.
Hey, not a problem there. Um, any other thoughts that you can think of when it comes to some of these reserves? Maybe like a Luka Doncic or like a Devin Booker. Some of the that's going to have a little bit more of an exciting name kind of deal that could potentially. I wouldn't put him over John Morant or Morant. And really over Andrew, it's tough because I mean
Andrew
obviously
Rock.
Luca has the name. Luca's the exciting one. Uh, People love Luca. Uh, but I mean, would you put him over Andrew at this point, or you
You
still
know what
like where
though?
Andrew is?
I personally would have put Luca in the starting lineup for Andrew Wiggins, but based on the votes, it had to go because Luka Doncic is technically is listed as a guard forward, but he's voted in as a guard. That's the issue on the ballot, I believe, especially with the mobile app. I think he's listed as a guard more so than a forward because he does a lot. And last year he was definitely the point guard on the team. This year it's Jalen Brunson. So and then normally the starter is Tim Hardaway, which is a shooting guard, and then Luka Doncic is in the lineup with Porzingis and Finney Smith, I believe is the four. So yeah, that's why I think Luka Doncic technically should have been in as the forward. But based on the voting, I'm not mad at it. I'm totally fine with Andrew Wiggins starting. The biggest thing that I look for in this game though is with this lineup they want that All-Star trophy. Did you see the new All-Star trophy?
Yes, I did. They're making it the Kobe Bryant Award, or is
Yeah,
that the
well, what has
MVP?
been for the last 2 years since he died. Yeah, the MVP of the All Star game gets the Kobe Bryant Award. This year's the year, the first year they did it when he died, and then this year they did it. This past year, 2021, they did it again, and then now they made a trophy based on it. I think if you, I saw the details. It kind of explained like why based on like his accomplishments,
Hmm.
why certain like the number of pieces, certain though. So with it being a new trophy too, I just feel like guys are going to go after it a little bit. Like I said, I think it has the Elam ending. So back to the lineup, I'm curious to see who starts. I mean, who finishes? I apologize. I am curious to see that because that's really going to dictate like how this game, how they play this game, who gets rest when, because the clock goes off, and it's the first team to whatever. So that's going to be very interesting.
Agreed. And actually, let's get into the game just a little bit. Obviously, it's going to be very high scoring, high entertainment. Of everyone on this list, I guess, name off two or three players that you think that's going to win that coveted Kobe Bryant Award this year.
Good question. Oh, that is a tough question, actually. Oh man.
It's tough because once they start playing, you don't know how long they're going to play, who's going to be energized to try and go after this new coveted trophy for the MVP award for the All Star game. I I would assume LeBron's gunning for it. I mean, come on, it's the one thing that
I have a feeling he
Jordan
is
doesn't
too.
have.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
no,
there's
I don't. Yeah, I think he's tied with Jordan with All Star Game MVPs.
right, but to have the Kobe Bryant award that Jordan could never get,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, he can't get his hands on that. Yeah, that's an accomplishment Jordan just can't have. That'll also tie Kobe for four finals of All Star Game MVPs all time. I think he knows that.
Oh yeah, he's
LeBron's smart. He knows that.
absolutely.
And I'm not saying he thinks it's gonna be. It's not gonna be his last time. Let's just get that straight. But he is getting older, and I think he feels like the window is closing. He knows it is. The window's on the Lakers season. We'll get to that another day. The window on this current Laker personnel, this lineup, this is closed, people. I just want people at home to realize that. Moving forward, yeah, I'm like you, man. I think he's gonna be gunning for it. I have a feeling I have a feeling Ja is gonna go for it though. And if Ja tries to go for it, I think he'll get it.
Yeah, I mean, just think about all
He's
these
not the nervous
young,
type.
right? I mean, all these young players that idolized Kobe Bryant growing up and watched his entire career, and now they're playing and trying to get this award. There's going to be a lot of players vying for this award. They're going to be
Yeah,
pushing for
Trey
it. This might be one
Trey
of the,
Young.
yeah, it might be the highest scoring All-Star games of all time, potentially. I mean,
That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that were, I guess you could say, um, what's the word? Influenced by Kobe, either directly with like Trey Young, DeMar DeRozan, Jason Tatum, or Joel Embiid also. um, or could it be guys like Ja Morant that were like that didn't actually get to like have the same interaction? Devin Booker's another one that was really involved. Like James Harden is another one as well. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. And it also too, I'm curious off this bench who's gonna be part of this, like the closers. I feel like you'll see Devin Booker out there. I just have a feeling about that, and then possibly Jimmy Butler because they're gonna need somebody that's gonna be able to play both sides or both ways, I should say.
yeah, they're going to have him. I think you'll probably have someone like a James Harden out there for a decent bit, maybe not closing, uh, but maybe on the west
I
side
don't
or whoever
know.
drafts for him. I mean, obviously you're going to have like a Devin's wanting to be out there. Chris Paul's going to want to be out there. It's be very
Yeah,
interesting to see how they change the lineup throughout the All Star game to see who has more minutes than most. Um, it'll be interesting.
yeah. I'm looking for a game. I'm looking forward to really the whole weekend. I know they got um the celebrity stuff on Friday. The that's I always watch that. That's just always fun. And if it's anybody in it that I like, put it like that. I watched the celebrity game a lot recently because Quavo's in it. Quavo could actually ball, so that's fun to watch. I think he's won uh, I don't know all the celebrity game MVP since he's been in it. It feels like it at least. But yeah, man. Why then the Saturdays that what everybody kind of looks for with the dunk contest, and hopefully we get something crazy. Is what we hope for. I know this year. I think it's man. I think it's
I
Jalen
got the
Jalen Green.
you got Jalen Green, you got
You got the
Obi.
list.
Yeah, I got the full list here. I was literally just about to ask you about the dunk contest and 3 point
Yeah,
contest. So for the dunk contest, we'll start there. Jalen Green from the Rockets. You have Obi Toppin from the Knicks. You have Cole Anthony from the Magic, and you have Juan Toscano Anderson from the Warriors in this dunk contest.
interesting. Interesting.
So it'll be, I think,
Let me see.
is the
What are some?
favorite Jalen Green at this point? He's the favorite? Because I thought the
I don't
list.
know. I don't know. So I'm
I thought.
I'll say this is that the Obi Toppin and then Cole Anthony. I don't know if you saw that, Clark. Do you see the highlight tape that came out from his high school dunk contest?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. That was pretty sick. I don't know. I felt like Jalen Green was the favorite coming into this, but after seeing a few, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely a lot of newer names on here that because I should know this player. I don't even know if he's on this list. I don't think he is. Uh, Aaron Gordon was the one that I think he said he was never going to do it again
Yeah.
because of many times that he's been snubbed with it. Um, It'd be interesting to see Obi Toppin. Obviously, we didn't get to see him in March Madness when they had to cancel March Madness when he was leading Dayton. Uh, Obviously, with the Knicks, we'll see what he can do there. But I think Jalen Green, at least from these names, I don't know a whole lot about Juan. Seems to be the most athletic, I guess, amongst them all, at least when it comes to terms of dunking. But Cole Anthony could be that sneaky,
Mhm.
sneaky name that goes in there. As for the 3-point contest, we have Fred Van Vliet, we have Desmond Bain, we have Luke Kennard, we have Zach Levine, CJ McCollum, who just got traded, Patty Mills, Carl Anthony Towns, as well as Trey Young. Uh, is that for real? Carl Anthony's going to be in the 3-point contest?
Yeah, he's shooting over 40% from three right now.
Hey. Well, the only reason I hesitate is because really the only time I've really paid attention to him when he was in Kentucky, and he didn't move outside of the paint. So that's impressive. I'll
Not
give him
really.
credit.
Yeah. I want to say shooting like 41 or 42% from three. It's really high, and it's the highest of his career. He's actually, I think, I even did a little comparison earlier this year. It's higher than Dirk. I think Dirk's highest point, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, looks like he's making about 2 a game, shooting about 5 a game, but he's making about 40% of his threes at this point.
Yep.
We'll see if he
So yeah,
can.
he's it's well deserved.
Yeah, we'll see if he can make a bunch. I mean, obviously you have some other names on this list that Luke Kennard. I know he shoots a bunch of threes. Trey Young's in there. Uh, I guess on this list, I'll have to ask you as well. Who do you think the favorite's going to be for the 3-point contest?
Man, that's a tough question. Um, I like Van Vliet.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I know he was really good at Wichita State and obviously helped is good enough to be an all-star in the NBA. Uh, we'll see. I don't recognize, I guess, really any names on there that is a true 3-point specialist. Am I missing something on there?
Well, um, as far as a specialist, yeah, I'm gonna say Luke Kennard to a degree. He has a kind of a little bit more of an all-around game now, but like it's all predicated off the three. Desmond Bain is a sharpshooter. Um, Zach Levine can shoot, but he's more of a scorer, which is doesn't really translate in these a lot of times. Trey Young the same way. Patty Mills is a pure shooter. That's the other
Right.
threat for me. I like Van Vliet. I mean Van Vliet's a scorer, but Patty I mean Van Vliet has a jump shot. Um, I don't know. I really like Patty Mills as well, but Desmond Bain is the one that I think may take this as well too. Like those those are the three that I would. I don't know how many are in the finals, but I would say Van Vliet, Bain, and Mills, and I really like Kennard as well. So that'd be interesting. I think it's what is it, the top two after the first round make it?
I believe so. It's been a while since I've seen a 3-point contest, so it could be. Seeing if I see any notes
Oh
here.
no, top top three. Top three.
Top 3. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go. Man, that's tough. I'm torn now. I think I talked myself out of it.
Hey, that's what I'm
Yeah,
here
I'm gonna go
for.
Bane. I'm gonna go Bane, Mills, and Luke Kennard. That's my three.
Hey, I wouldn't be shocked if those 3 were there. Um, Anything else that you can think of that you want to talk about the All Star roster, starters, reserves, before we jump into this draft that we have?
I think it's time. I think it's time we hop into the draft.
Time for the draft. So this is going to be our draft as the draft is actually happening right now. I haven't looked into it, and I'll stay away from the moment because I kind of want to build a roster. Now, here's the thing. We haven't really decided who is going to be the first overall pick, and that's kind of important at this point. Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up here my wonderful World Wide Web, and I'm going to flip a coin on the internet. I want you to call it, and I will let you know if you are correct or not, and you're just going to have to trust my word.
Oh wow.
So the
Okay.
coin is flipping. What is your call?
Heads.
It is heads. You, sir, get the first overall pick in our little draft here.
All right.
Congratulations.
So I appreciate it. So we're going with starters. We're building our starting five based on the talent, the pool of 10 that we have. We are excluding Kevin Durant and
Correct.
replacing him with Jason Tatum.
Yep. And
Absolutely. All right.
actually, I think the NBA.com has actually updated it, so I know exactly who the starters are, who's on each side. But we will save that to the very end because I think everybody's seen it at this point. So, Fletch, who is your first overall pick?
Yes, sir. I'm going with Giannis.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. It was really between a couple different names. He was one of them for me. I think at this
Okay.
point, this one's tough because I there's going to be a couple of names I really want to come back to me. I don't know if they will, but I think I'm going to have to go with at this point the way he's playing, just dominating for quite some time. I think I got Joel Embiid is who I'm going to go with my pick. I got to counter that big on the inside there that you have. So
I like this.
Fletch,
I
who
like
is
this.
your second overall pick?
Yes, sir. Reason why I do like your pick too. I believe excluding Kevin Durant, Giannis is the best player in the world. Currently, I believe Joel Embiid is the MVP of the NBA. So I really like your pick. Um, Steph Curry.
I knew it. I knew he wasn't going to get back to me, but it's okay. It's
Yeah, can't
okay.
let that man slide.
It's tough. You can't let him go. I mean, he was going to be
Mm-mm.
gone. There was no third pick you were going to have a chance for. Uh, so that's fine. You can take him. At this point, I think a name that we've brought up quite a bit that, and one that could potentially be in 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 line to win the MVP of the All Star game. I'm going to go with Ja Morant. I,
Oh my gosh, I knew you were going to.
I had to. I mean, you took Curry. The second you take Curry, I got
Wow.
to. It was either really, honestly, it was really between him and Trey Young. Is really who I was potentially going with, unless I wanted to go with a bigger roster. But uh, he's first time All Star. He's going to be excited. He's going to do a lot of fun things in this All Star game. So now that I've taken a pick of yours, go ahead and what's your next pick?
Oh wow. I wasn't gonna pick him. I don't know if I. Yeah, I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't think I would. But I am not. I'm shocked, but I do really like that as well. Only reason I'm shocked is like essentially what we're saying, and I'm not saying that this is definite or anything, but that John Moran has reached the point that he can be in that category of like um, essentially one of the best players in the league. Are we saying that?
I think a lot of people are saying that, not just, the people like myself that kind of tune in and out from time to time, but people that really pay attention to the sport are just there. It's a heavy lean in that direction. If it's not there yet, it is a heavy lean.
Man, that's exciting. Okay. I have to come back to earth here. Um, with my third pick, trying to be a little strategic here, I guess. LeBron James.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I gotta go with LeBron James. Like I have a feeling he'll be gunning for the All Star Game MVP. He's competitive. He likes to win these, and he's the captain this year. I'm gonna go with Bron.
Yeah, and now I'm stuck in a situation where do I go with more of a scorer? Do I go with another big man to kind of win the bigs on the inside? I think that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the Joker. I think that's where I'm going to go here.
Ooh, Twin Towers.
We're going to dominate
It's
on the
hard to defend
inside,
with.
even though nobody plays defense in this game, but it's fine. We're going to have some big
It's
men. We
hard
can
to
swip
contend
them in
with.
and out. Yeah, let's see what you got.
Yeah. I will say defense is played in the fourth quarter. Defense is very important for. We saw that. We've seen that the last couple years. They don't like these when this Elam ending thing. think that fixed it. I think that fixed the All Star game. Um, I'm happy I'm happy that it did. Oh wow, you stole my pick.
Hey, what can I say?
And you got two bigs. Yeah, defensively you're stout. Um, okay. We got Giannis, we got Steph, we got Bron. I feel good. I feel good. I am going to go. Give me Ice Tray. I'm going Trey Young.
Solid,
We need
solid
somebody. We
pick.
need somebody. We, yeah, we need somebody to pair with Steph that can shoot from the other side of the court.
Yeah, especially when you can't handle on the big side and then down on the inside, you got to shoot from the outside, and that's fine.
Yeah, we'll just shoot from 40. That's fine.
What's he doing out there? Don't worry, he's just shooting a three. Okay.
Oh, it remind.
Hmm.
Did you see the last year's All Star game with the highlights of Dame and Steph going back and forth shooting bombs?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the vibes I'm going for.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Ah, now we're down to the nitty gritty here.
We are.
Uh, hmm. I'll get two of these three players. So which one do I think you won't draft? Probably him, based on the conversations we've had earlier, which means I
Him.
have to take one of these two. I don't want to. I don't want to make fun of him. He's a good player. He was phenomenal. I believe he played at Kansas, is where he played. We'll talk about him shortly. But for the player that played at play at Duke, I'm gonna go with Jason Tatum. Is where I'm gonna lean here.
Good pick. Good pick.
It was tough
I,
between him and DeRozan. Is really where I was, but I'll take Tatum.
I took my chances on getting DeRozan last, and I'm gonna pick up DeMar DeRozan. I was torn between him and Jason Tatum, and I almost picked Jason Tatum to be honest with you over Ice Trey, but I had to go with another sharpshooter, so I'm gonna go with Mr. Mid Range himself, who actually has worked on his three, and he is now a viable 3 point option now, and it's nice to see. DeMar DeRozan, his game has now his this is the best version of DeMar DeRozan. I'm a DeMar DeRozan fan. He's not quite as like athletic. He doesn't dunk on you just quite as much. He still will and he still can. Don't get it twisted. But DeMar DeRozan has all the offensive game that you need. And I think they've talked about him a lot as far as his time in San Antonio with Popovich and really honing his point guard skills. And now you're starting to see that come through. I think he's averaging career high 5 assists um, for the Bulls right now. Best player on the team. Definitely helped change the culture there. And now these guys are an East Coast or Eastern Conference threat. So I'm very happy for him. I just want to mention that. But yeah, that's my five, and I guess that leaves the man from Kansas himself, the first time All Star, Andrew Wiggins for you.
It does, and I had a feeling he might have been the last one there. So I really
Yeah,
wanted to make sure I got there. It's fine. He's a good player. Uh, Obviously, it's still Steph's team, but it is deserving of his first All Star appearance. So I like adding him to that list because I know that going down the list, I know I'll have some other choices if we were to get into it. But let me ask you this. I think we'll wrap up a little bit here. Um, Let me ask you this. Give me two players that weren't drafted, obviously, by us in the starting five, from the reserves
hmm
that you would add to this team, that add to your team to really just solidify things.
Devin Booker.
I had a feeling it really was down to Devin Booker, and I think maybe like Luca, maybe would be the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No, I think that's correct. Luca and Devin Booker. Personally, I just love Devin Booker's game. He's very poised. I know when it's come down to the clutch, he's going to be on the floor for me. Um, I don't care who I have to take out. Devin Booker's on the floor when the game is on the line. I think he leads the league in clutch points right now. I want to say for the last 2 seasons, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, Devin Booker's lethal, man.
it's crazy because the last time I really watched Devin Booker was when he was in Kentucky. under John Calipari, and he was just a sixth man. He was just a 3-point specialist. He really didn't do a whole lot offensively in that offense. And then he comes to the NBA and just like, wait a minute here, Calipari, what are you missing? Like, come on.
Well, you know, with John Cal though, their teams, especially when they were really doing the one and done and churning guys in and out of that program, he sold them on basically playing as a team and sacrificing, and then obviously you're still gonna go kind of where you're projected to go based on what you did in high school because that's closely watched as well. And then I think it helped a lot of Kentucky players because it showed a lot of Kentucky players could not just be these great individual talents, but it also showed they could buy in and be, you know, a teammate, a good teammate. And I think if you see just kind of if you look at the league, um, at least to a degree, it's very Alabama like to the NFL, where Kentucky has a load of guys that are great, good, average, I would say subpar. I'm not gonna say subpar, but bench warmers, and also throughout the G League, they have a ton of guys that are just scattered throughout professional basketball here in the states. And it's very impressive what John Cal has done. I think that part of his job is something that doesn't really get a lot of credit because it's more so in college. How well do you do with what you have in college versus what do essentially, what happens to your players after the fact. And I think that does need to be looked at a little bit more because ultimately players use Kentucky as a stepping stone to the NBA. But if John Cal can produce a contender every year with these teams and churn out this much talent, that attracts much more talent. And eventually you're just going to continue to win. Not It may not be on a consistent basis because of how much parity is in college basketball, but at the same time, like you're just going to continue to bring in top 50 players, top 10 players, McDonald's All-Americans, etc. Um, yeah, I mean, the list goes on for him. So I think that's very overlooked as far as his accomplishments and just because of things that have happened in his past, and also the fact that I think he only has one championship through all of this.
Yeah, it was only in 2012, but this year they are thriving there in Kentucky. And the last time he had five different players average double-digit scoring in a season, they won the title in 2012, and that's what they have this year as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. But uh, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Anything else before we sign off for the day?
Really just looking forward to the All-Star game. I think it's gonna be a good one this whole weekend. It's gonna be amazing. You got the Super Bowl as well. Actually, I think I'm sorry, the All-Star game is next weekend. I apologize. You got the Super Bowl this weekend. You got the All-Star game next weekend. You got a big UFC fight this weekend. Um, it's a really good sports weekend in general. So I'm looking forward to it. Um, it's going to be crazy. Sports week, really. We just came off the NHL All Star game. I got to check a little bit of that out. That was actually pretty fun. That's the first time I ever watched one of those. That was enjoyable though. Um, but yeah, man, I'm excited for this next couple weeks of sports and waiting to see what's in store next. Not only for the sports world, but also for us as well. We'll come back hot and fresh with another topic. Remember, follow me on Twitter, aka Sports Pod. Hit us up on Facebook, YouTube. Um, what is it? Anchor FM. Search us, aka Sports. Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Clark, we're everywhere. We're everywhere.
We are everywhere, yes, and definitely, like he said, go to anchor.fm/aka sports. You can find us on facebook.com/aka sports FB. You find us on YouTube, just simply search for aka sports. And obviously, we'll be putting up, we're going to have Fletch put up a poll of our NBA starting teams. For those of you who would like to vote on which team you think is better, if it's Team Fletch or Team Hobo. And then we will talk about it next week with our next topic. Fletch, another one in the books.
Yes, sir.
Happy to talk about the.
Oh,
Yes.
oh. I can't let you get out of here. We mentioned it last week. It's only right that we close the show with this. Who you got in the Super Bowl?
I think this one's going to be a really good game. This could be a high scoring game, but
Okay.
I think at the end of the day, the man who suffered year after year after
Mm.
awful year
Mm.
will
Tell the people.
finally tell the world that he is worth all the money that they gave him to come over there and play quarterback.
Mm.
He will win himself a ring, something that Calvin Johnson couldn't do, something that Barry Sanders couldn't do.
He's going to Disney World.
And he's going to go to Disney World, Disneyland, whichever world or land you want to go to. But I have the Rams winning this game, and I have the final score of 31-27. Fletch, who you got?
Wow. 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 I love it. I love it. Um, I've been back and forth. I'm always back and forth, I feel like. It's a tough decision, I'll be honest. My heart is with the Bengals. I'm not a Bengals fan, people. I'm just from Ohio. And I would love to see that happen. My head is with the Rams. If I'm a betting man, I always go with my head. Um, I picked the Rams in the preseason. I picked the Rams in the regular season. I picked the Rams in the playoffs. Clark, I can't hop off the train now. I've been on the Rams. I'm staying on the Rams. I got the Rams winning, and I'm feeling like you, man. I feel like a good game. It's in LA. I'm equally excited actually for the halftime show. For those that don't know, it's Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar. Hell of a lineup. I don't know what they're gonna do in 30 minutes, and I don't know what the hell's gonna happen in this game. I'm just expecting to see fireworks. I'm gonna go final score 38-35.
Wow. A little bit higher scoring game, but definitely one that could be extremely entertaining to watch. Could be a little bit slow to get started. I know the Bengals offense is a little slow to get things going. Rams got a very, very good defense, but once things kind of get calibrated, uh, touchdowns are coming.
Touchdowns will be coming, and you may see them defensively.
You're right.
So we're talking about two great defense. Just because the score is high doesn't mean defense won't be played. This is a different league now. Great defense can't be played in high scoring games. This is a fact. This is just how it is now. Ask the Cowboys, regular season wise at least.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I'm excited for the Super Bowl. Clark, I'll probably be messaging you throughout the Super Bowl, so just stand by. Excuse my emotions because big games, I get all over the place. I'm not. I don't even know if I'm rooting for anyone in particular, to be honest with you. I just want to see a great game, but I think just if those are the predictions. So, nonetheless, man, been a great show. Always nice working with you. Can't wait for next week. We'll tell the people what we're doing next week. People, give us suggestions. Give us suggestions. If you know me personally, you can text me, call me. You can, like we talked about, we're on Facebook and Twitter. Hit us up. Give us some suggestions. Tell us what you want us to talk about. We'll try to bring the heat. We'll try to talk about some good topics and some good subjects. Sometimes current events, sometimes some things you can kind of look back on, some things that have historical relevance. So just let us know what you want to hear, and we'll hop into it. Clark, kick it over to you and close this bad boy out.
Absolutely. And like he said, you can follow us on so many different ways. And again, give us some suggestions so we can keep this show going. But as for now, my name is Clark Heron, aka the Harry Hobo. That's Fletch, and we're out of here.
Yeesh.